Okay, so the Commanders play the Raiders coming up, and obviously, it's the Commanders should have a little bit of an easier time with the Raiders, and but let me give you a couple reasons why. First of all, the defense of the Raiders don't have a particular identity. Toughness, maybe. Speed, no. They just don't have a identity. I don't think they're ready for prime time yet. I don't think they have enough talent, and that's a shame for Max Crosby because he sells out so much on every play. And if they had a couple more guys like him, then they'd be in a much better position defensively and for the team as a whole. Because a good defense at least puts you in a conversation of being a good team. And then offensively, they run basic concepts. They rely on the speed of the receivers. They have a couple very speedy receivers in Myers and Thornton, the rookie, who I had in my mock draft for the Commanders, and they did not take. But they run your basic crossers and your outs, and they try to take a couple shots deep. And of course, they get Bowers the ball, the tight end. They have some plays to get him specifically the ball. So, but their concepts are basic. I wouldn't say that the offensive coordinator is a whiz kid at all. They just run your standard concepts and rely on their speed or their players to create plays. So I think it'll be a little bit easier of a time for the Commanders. They just have to get themselves right. They have to be about their details, and they should certainly win this game. Um, just going back to the Packers game a little bit, real quick. I think the Commanders actually should become more of a smash mouth, run the ball type team. Um, I think they have the offensive line for it, and they're doing well in almost every rushing metric in the NFL. So I think they should definitely build on that. Now, I know that Cliff has some toys that he can play with along the lines of uh, Debo Samuel and Terry McLaurin, but you got to have sort of the instincts to say, hey, what we're doing is not working in this game. Maybe we can loosen them up with the run a little bit. We're getting 4 yards a pop. Let's work the run game and then come back to these past concepts as the game goes on. Because I think if they would have went run heavy, um, the Commanders would have worn this Packers defense down, and you might have had a different outcome. So, looking at the alternate 22s, I was a little bit more encouraged by the Commanders in the sense that they have the personnel it takes, you know, and they just have to do it. And I don't know if Cliff has somebody up top um, on the offensive side that can um, sort of be the eyes and ears for him and say, hey, the run seems to be working. Let's work that. And then also, the Commanders don't use a lot of play action. I think they probably should do more of it. But with the play action, I think Jaden needs to be a little more detailed in carrying out his fakes. And I think this team could be a good running team to set up the pass, and then everything can sort of come together. So we'll see if they find that, or if they keep trying to force their scheme, their pass game onto teams. Because the Packers, yes, they have athletic players, they have speedy players, but the concepts they were using were effective overall against this offense. Now, it was clear that the Packers were trying they sold out on trying to stop this high powered offense of the Commanders, the pass offense in particular. They also seemed to sell out on the fact that, hey, let's not let Jaden get more than 2, 3 yards. And when he, tucks the ball and runs, let's punish him. Let's fly up and get to him. And that's how he got hurt. So, but one of the things is in this game, the Packers they weren't as detailed versus the run as they were against the pass. You can tell that they practiced specifically to try to slow down the offense and the weapons as far as the pass game is concerned. So there was an opportunity to find the chink in the armor of the Packers defense by running the ball. And if you run with a variety of types of runs, they would have worn down this Packers defense. I think the weakest part of the Packers defense is their defensive line, outside of Micah. So we'll see what happens. We'll see how things evolve. This might be a blessing in disguise that Jaden has a week off. I think that with Mariota, they might run a little more, and maybe they will find that they have a pretty good rush offense. Just be a little bit more smash mouth and control the ball that way. And so let's look at this run real quick by Bill. A lot of people were screaming, please give Bill more carries than full carries in a game. He had, 80 yards the prior game in 10 attempts or 11 attempts, whatever it was. And you give him 4 in this one, and he had success on his 4 runs. It makes no sense to me, but he should have gotten 15 to 20 carries in this game, especially after seeing his initial runs. But let's look at this run, and yeah, I'll discuss this after we look at it. Okay, first of all, number 74, Coleman. Man, your man blew right past you. And Jacory just sort of casually runs away from the defender that has blown past the lineman. He should have lost like 3, 4 yards. But just good instinct and feel by Bill. Let's continue. Now, let me back up a little bit because this is so interesting to me. Just a little bit. All right, so after he gets past the guy that blows past Coleman, there is a linebacker coming to fill the hole. And let's watch what Bill ends up doing. Now, so you had a linebacker coming to fill the hole, and you still managed to get another 3, 4 yards after contact. Okay, so let's look at this sequence again. So the lineman blows past number 74, and Jacory gets past that person, and the linebacker filling the hole gets another 3 to 4 yards. He should have lost, 4 yards. So that was essentially a 8 or 9 yard run against this fast. athletic defense. And that's what you need against those type of defenses. You need guys who can make a play on offense. And again, they didn't have as much detail versus the run as they did against the pass because they shut the wide receivers down for the Commanders. And let's just go back real quick because I want you to see the reaction of number 7, who is not a slouch. And he's the linebacker that tried to fill the hole. And just give his reaction a look a little bit. All right, let's look at it from the top again. Good move. Look at number 7. Number 7 was like, damn it. You know, when you get those kind of reactions, that's how you know you're a pretty good player. And I remember last year when Jaden used to make big plays and defenders had him in the grasp, and he would just get out of it and make a big play. And defenders were like, God damn it. You know what I'm saying? And that's the sign of the player you're going against is a good player. That's a sign that Bill is a good runner because 7 is no slouch, you know. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why Bill should have ran the ball more or at least gotten the majority of the carries. And then they should have went straight smash mouth against this defense. They're not big on the defensive line necessarily. I think that was sort of a weak point that they could have attacked. Yeah, so that's it. So Raiders coming up. Again, I think that the Commanders have an opportunity to have a successful game against the Raiders. The Raiders don't do anything particularly creative. They don't use misdirection and all of that. They don't, you know, have a fast and speedy athletic defense at all. And so I think this is a game where they could be successful. They just have to be on their P's and Q's. And I think this would have been a game that Jaden Daniels would have sort of had his first pretty big game of the year. But that's not going to happen. We might have to wait a week or two for that to happen. So that's my preview of the Packers Commanders game. Not a lot, but that's my general thoughts. What do you guys think?